Let's mute everyone. Which I can't do either, sorry. I don't know why.
Well, one grandchild is just out of luck because he didn't show up. So, he'll be number 5 out of the 5, not number 1.
Wow.
A demotion.
He was
It's
so
happening.
excited about
We
coming.
are
So I said, come
streaming
on.
right now. So
Let me ask her.
We are streaming. Yes, we are.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely live.
great.
Yes.
I'm going to mute everybody right now. This is the most powerful moment I have all night. So I'd like to begin by wishing everybody a Shabbat Shalom. This is the first time I think Cantor and I have done a service together since December 18th. Over the holidays, we always have, we all tag team it. Excuse me. So you've seen bits and pieces of me and Cantor and our rabbinic intern and some guest cantorial soloist. But tonight you have, the band back together. And what a great night to have the band back together, because we're celebrating Martin Luther King tonight. We're celebrating freedom, and we're celebrating civil rights. So Martin Luther King Jr., he once stated, the quality, not the longevity of one's life is what is important. The quality, not the longevity. His life wasn't long, but the breath of it is still felt more than a half century after his passing. So tonight we're going to honor him, a man who changed the course of history. Sadly, though, the history hasn't ended. His goals haven't been achieved, but at least he started a process. Now, Martin Luther King Jr. was ordained as a pastor in 1948 when he was only 19 years old. He makes me feel less intelligent than I think I am, because I didn't become a rabbi till I was 46. I was about 30 years behind him in terms of age. And as you all know, he was a key figure in the civil rights movement. So what was the civil rights movement? It was the fight for all people living in our country, rich or poor, black or white, to have the same rights. Like Gandhi, King believed in nonviolent protest, and using nonviolent protest, he fought for improvements for all underprivileged peoples. He was arrested 30 times for his civil rights work. And just a small aside, he was never arrested for a violent act or breaking into the Capitol in order to undermine our government. Never think I would ever have to point that out, but I might as well after the last week. Now, Dr. King, he won hundreds of awards for his work, including the Nobel Peace Prize at age 35. He didn't have to pretend that he won two. He actually won one. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words inspired many people. His work changed the American way of life, and his passion inspired all people all over this world. His ideas made the underprivileged realize that their lives had value, an idea that started a process of change that is still occurring in our nation. So back on Monday, January 20th, 1986, we had our first national celebration honoring him. So tonight, let's celebrate his ideas of unity by standing united with those who share our belief in the equality of all, regardless of race, creed, gender, or religion. And let us challenge those that still live with the belief in their own superiority because, of these same qualities. We're going to begin in a moment by singing Shalom Aleichem, page 142, if you have a book. Shalom Aleichem is where we greet the angels. And what are angels? Well, by Jewish tradition, they are messengers. And every Friday night, 2 angels come, and they come into our homes and they bless us. Tonight, we have a third angel. We have Martin Luther King Jr. because he truly was a messenger. So may he be one of our angels tonight, and may he bless us, and may he remind us of what it is, to be a responsible human being. So we turn to page 142, and we sing to all the angels that have helped made our world better. Cantor.
Lie, 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 lie.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לי 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 La 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 ברכוני לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא צאתכם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא לי 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 לי
Martin Luther King once said, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that." We think about evil on top of evil. Well, all it is more evil. And let's think about that first plague where the Nile was turned into blood, because that's part of this week's Torah portion. And what happens? The Egyptian magicians come out and they just add more blood. They didn't change anything. They didn't improve anything for their people. They just added darkness to darkness. The Hebrew word for light is or. Or. Light is so important. Light can cut through the darkest of nights. And in Psalms, we read about light. We read, light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright, or Sarua la Sadiq. The light of love, the light of freedom, the light of equality, the light of righteousness. It can cut through the darkness caused by injustice. So now I'm going to turn to page 132, and we're going to have a creative take on Or Zarua. Cantor, Shai.
אור זרוע לצדיק ולשרי לב שמחה שמחו צדיקים באדוני והודו לזכר קודשו אור זרוע לצדיק ישרי לב שמחה, אור זרוע לצדיק, ישרי לב שמחה, אור זרוע לצדיק, ישרי לב שמחה, 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 שמחה. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. אור זרוע לצדיק, ישרי לב שמחה, אור זרוע לצדיק, ישרי לב שמחה, אור זרוע לצדיק, ישרי לב שמחה, 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 שמחה. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let
So Judaism is filled with, well, a history of social justice. So I wanted to quote tonight Rabbi Mordechai Kaplan, the founder of Reconstructionist Judaism. He once wrote, "Don't merely expect to find or to believe that life is worthwhile. Make it worthwhile. Don't merely see life as being whole. Make it whole. Not knowing which should come first, to improve oneself or to improve the world, we end up doing neither. Actually, the only way to improve the world is by improving oneself. And the only way to improve oneself is by improving the world. The only way to improve oneself is by improving the world." So tonight we should ponder how to make life worthwhile and then take action. His recommendation is through the action of improving not just oneself, but one's community, and in our case, one's nation. So we're going to turn to L'cha Dodi, and we're going to imagine that improvement coming toward us in the form of a Sabbath bride, coming towards us with goodness and holiness, filling our hearts so we can have a special Shabbat, and then take, well, that holiness with us into the week. We're on page 138. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Cantor, please. And of course, we'll be standing on the last verse. Cantor.
Lecha dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לה לה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לה לה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, התעוררי, כי באור קומי אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך ניתנה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי. Please rise if you're able and face the door. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, לה, לה, לך דודי,
לך דודי,
לקראת כלה,
לקראת כלה,
פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי,
לך דודי,
לקראת כלה,
לקראת כלה,
פני שבת, נקבלה. לך דודי.
And now it's my honor to ask Sam Wildman to light our Shabbat candles. If you have a few words beforehand, please share them with us. Sam, you start talking, you'll appear on screen. Sam, you will need to unmute yourself.
I have to say it again. Okay, so these are not my mother's original ones. Her original ones were brass, but when they went to Israel, and you can see by the patina on here that these were what they were making at the time, she began to use them, and it's probably was the early 60s, and she was lighting them after I was married, actually. So I have them now, and later she wanted me to have something nicer. So she bought Waterford for me, and now they're at my daughter Jenny's. And so when I go there, we light them. So I'm going to light them, but I'm also telling you why I'm not wearing a fascinator tonight. It's because my mother loved hats, and this is hers. And I bought it with her in Forest Hills, New York, about 30 years ago. So when I get the matches, I'll light them, and then, yeah.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Thank you, Sam. That was wonderful. Beautiful candlesticks and a wonderful story. And now I see on our outline, Cantor is going to do a little special musical piece for us. If I'm reading my outline correct. Cantor, please.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. אנו נתגבר, אנו נתגבר, אנו נתגבר באחד הימים, בליבי פנימה. אני מאמין, אנו נתגבר באחד הימים. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall live in peace someday.
Baruch Hu is our call to worship. It is a call and a response. The idea is that a leader is calling out to you and you are saying, yes, I am here, I am present. And I couldn't think of a more, fitting period to think about what the Baruch Hu means. It means that we respond. It means that we are present. It means that we look for righteous leaders to sing out to us. And then we need to sing out to them. So let us rise for the Baruch Hu. Please remain standing afterwards for the Shema. I will say a word or two between the two, but don't sit down until we're done with the Shema. Please rise for the Baruch Hu.
Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. Lai la lai 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 lai. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד. המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
Rabbi Maurice Eisendrath, once the president for the Union for Reform Judaism, he wrote, Judaism gave mankind its first civil rights program. It was expressed in the Shema, the watchword of the Jewish faith. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. As God is one, mankind is one, for each is created equally in the image of God. We share this idea almost every week. The idea that the Shema speaks about unity, about oneness, about wholeness, but actually isn't occurring at this moment. It's a goal we are trying to achieve. The goal of unity, kindness, love, connection, regardless of race, creed, color, gender. It's a goal that we constantly move toward. So let's take a moment and center ourselves before we say the Shema. And let us take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it out. And another deep breath in. And hold it. And let it out. And one final breath in before the cantor leads us in the Shema. Cantor.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue with the Haftarah found on page 154, a song about loving God, and we can only really show our love of God by showing our love for our fellow human beings. Cantor the Haftarah.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel once taught, the first conference on religion and race took place in Egypt. The main participants were Pharaoh and Moses. And Moses said, "Thus says the God of Israel, let my people go." And Pharaoh answered, "Who is this God that I should heed his word? I will not let them go." The outcome of that summit meeting has not yet come to an end. Pharaoh is not ready to capitulate. The Exodus began, but it is far from being complete. Well, his words ring true. Today, there are still those who have no civil rights. Those are suffering due to prejudice. We must be like Moses and like King, like Heschel, and continue the fight, the struggle they started. So we turn to page 158 for the Micha Mocha, but tonight it will be a different Micha Mocha, a different version, one that will inspire us for MLK weekend. Cantor?
Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. They let so hard they could not stand. Let my people go. So God told them, go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. As Israel stood by the waterside, let my people go. As God's command it did divide, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. When the Hebrews reach the other shore, let my people go. They let the song of triumph roar, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. Let my people go. Let my people go. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל. לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו חולנם. Let's see how this works. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, מלכותך ובניך פותח לפני משה ומרים, ואלינו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, עושה פלא.
Wow, that was fabulous. Thank you so much, Cantor. Thank you so much, Shai. Really wonderful. So now our thoughts turn to those who are ill of mind, body, spirit. In a moment, we'll say a Misha Berach prayer for them, followed by the singing of Misha Berach. If you have names that you would like to have added to the Misha Berach list, start to put them in the chat window. But on the list that I have, we think about the following people: Pamela Abraham, Hillel Baldwin, Sigal Barsade, Todd Bergman, Bert Brooks, Nancy Braun, Lucy Brunson, Julio Flores, Phyllis and Martin Gilmore, Herb Jaffe, Posey Kramer, Susan Landau, Stan Lieber, Arlene Nyberg, Saviash Tabrizi. Those battling COVID-19, and every day I know we're all learning of more people battling this terrible disease. Of course, we should think about everyone caring for those battling this illness. And let's also think about those injured by insurgents during last week's Capitol riot. Additional names: Miles Dietz, Helene Levy, Dave Oren, Beth Love, Paul Hiddleman, Francis Linsk, Greg Kerner, Rick Weiss, Shirley Frankel Fields, the Scott family, Risa Davids, and Rabbi Stan Davids. Mishaberach Avatenu V'Imotenu, may the God of our ancestors grant a refuah shlema to all those we name tonight and to all those we hold in our hearts. And together we say, Amen. Cantor, Shai.
מי שברך אבותינו מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. מי שברך אמותינו מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We now turn to page 164 for Adonai Sifatai Tiftach. The Amidah speaks about, well, all of our wishes for a better world, our wishes for world hunger to end, our wishes for peace, our wishes for, well, a joyful and relaxing Shabbat. So let us think about what we want, well, in terms of this world, what we want it to look like, and let us pray for that as we, well, recite our Amidah. Let us all rise, page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל החסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמור כמוך בעל גבורות ומידה מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך סלה, ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please pray silently. When you're done with your silent prayer, you may be seated.
The following song is originally in Hebrew, and this song was written by Moshe Vilensky and Yechiel Mohar in the 60s in Israel. So this was inspired by Martin Luther King's speech, "I Have a Dream." I did forget to say one thing before we start. My parents did a wonderful, beautiful job translating the song from Hebrew to English. So, Iman Abba, good job. Kol hakavod. I have a dream, more real than ever can be told. I have a dream, quite new and also very, very old. A day sunlight bright and honey oh so sweet. I have a dream. I have a dream. There will be peace, mountains blue, this valley and the sea. A song breaks through, the children sing their song to you and me. And night a dream, their song will touch the heart of all who hear. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. My parents passed along to me, and from the depth it spreads its wings and struggles to be free. From valley deep, it rises pure from its captivity. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. like a spring just ready to be born. And from that place burst its light as on in early morn. A song of peace will usher forth a song for everyone. I have a dream. I have a dream. יש לי חלום עצור כמעיין בלב ההר. זה המקום, מכאן יפרוץ ויעלה ואף יגבר ושיר שלום ייפח מסלע זה אל כל אתר. יש לי חלום, יש לי חלום, יש לי חלום, יש לי חלום.
Yasher Koach, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that Israeli, that Israeli song with us. Just truly beautiful. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Shai, and thank your parents for me. Marching. I've been thinking a lot about marching. And after 430 years of slavery, it was time for the Israelites to march. After so much punishment and cruelty, after a leader came to help them, to help us, after 10 plagues, we finally got our chance to march. So we marched out of our land of enslavement. But even after we departed, even after we believed we were free, we found that we were not. Isn't it easy to believe that you're in a better place and then you realize that you aren't? You see, we were chased by the Egyptians, chased to the edge of a sea. Freedom was not ours until we crossed that sea of reeds and sang the Mi Chamocha. I was thinking about how similar our biblical story is to the plight of African Americans during their years of slavery in our southern states, during their years of unequal freedom after the Civil War, during the years that span the Civil Rights Movement that continue on to today. So many parallels. Didn't Pharaoh attempt to take away the Israelites' power by enslaving them, by having their baby boys killed after their births, and by forcing them to make their own bricks to build, the Egyptian storehouses and pyramids? The Pharaoh's goal was to maintain control over a large minority population, and he accomplished his goal by weakening and abusing. And in the South, the atrocities and cruelties of slavery kept a race in chains. And after slavery had officially ended, Southern whites kept African Americans out of the mainstream by enacting Jim Crow laws, which created a segregated and a violent society. And even today, racism continues through systems designed to keep minorities at bay and white citizenry in charge. If you're unaware of systemic racism, I recommend you go look at my high holiday sermon where I talked about it, because it exists and it affects minorities. But let's remember, it took a leader to bring the Israelites out of slavery. That was Moses. And it took a leader to make our country see the unfair conditions of African Americans in the Deep South. And that was Martin Luther King Jr. During the Civil Rights Movement, Jews worked hand in hand with Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders. And in the past, I've spoken about the deep friendship and working relationship King had with Abraham Joshua Heschel, who is right over here. And there's King marching in Selma. Heschel was one of the many Jews who knew that freedom doesn't exist until it exists for all. He believed that freedom doesn't exist until it exists for all. He knew to stand up and to shout no more, even if we were years, decades, centuries away from taking the smallest of steps forward. Yes, he thought the victory was right around the corner. Little did he know about the struggle for freedom, or that the struggle for freedom has continued to this day and will continue into too many tomorrows. This world, this nation is far from perfect. We've been reminded of this fact for the past 10 months, really for the past 4 years, really since slavery ended. The fight hasn't ended. The fight goes on because a rainfall of injustice, a rainfall that at times seems unstoppable, has soaked us all. So I ask, what leader will step forward to guide us to justice? What leader will remind us that each of us has work to do in order to protect our society and to make it fair to each and every citizen? What leader will say no to the forces of evil led by President Trump, soon to be former President Trump? And if you think I'm being too liberal, let's not forget that even Senator Mitch McConnell, one of the most right-wing senators we have, has had his fill of white supremacists, racists, and anti-Semites. And he's even had his fill of our president. So this weekend, we read about the accomplishments of Moses, and we celebrate the accomplishments of King. And even though they inspire me, I am worried. I'm worried about the fever of white nationalism and white supremacy that is affecting not just our country, but so many nations worldwide. I'm worried about anti-Semitic acts that have risen dramatically in this country over the past year and touched this temple, well, just a few months ago. And I'm worried about immigrants, human beings who languish on the borders of our countries or in detention centers, some separated from their children, longing for their chance to become American citizens due to intolerable conditions in their countries of origin. I'm worried that this virus that our president mocks by not wearing a mask will continue to touch too many people. And I'm worried about the self-interest I see in every corner in society as we become more and more isolated. Like Reformed temples across this great nation, we can help create change if we so choose. We have leaders like Carol Fisher, who leads our Social Justice Committee, leaders who are helping guide us and inform us. So if we're supposed to be the prophetic movement, it's time to act like prophets and to stand up to injustice and not to sit silently by when people say things they shouldn't. Don't get into an argument, but you're welcome to gently nudge people towards what is right. You're welcome to calmly say what you believe. As Rabbi Hillel said, his most famous quote, "If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm only for myself, what am I? If not now, when? If not now, when?" So my blessing for tonight. Let us be like King, Moses, Heschel, Hillel. Their holy actions did not take place in heaven, but upon this earth. Let us find ways, even the smallest of ways, to change the world around us. Tiny steps. That's all we need to take. And together we say, Amen. It's now my honor to ask Roland Menschel, one of our board members, to share some announcements. If he unmutes himself and starts talking, we will see him magically appear. Roland?
Can you hear me? Great, and you can see me. Thank you so much, Rabbi John. You know, you talk about leaders and the importance of leaders, and boy, you have just been such an amazing leader for this temple, especially during this time, and it is just so greatly appreciated. I know I speak on behalf of everyone, so thank you, sir. And of course, Cantor and Shai, you know how I feel about you. We are so honored to have such a beautiful voice, Sis, every Friday. Just wonderful. And to Sam Klein, who I know is out there, thank you for all the work and everything that you've been doing. And I do want to give a special shout out to Karen Friedman, who is our favorite IT specialist. Yes. So, on to announcements. Some upcoming events. Please see the emails for all the Zoom links. Just so you know, our Intro to Judaism class, Ethical Dilemmas class, and Monday Torah study, which is just what a great book. Somehow it always seems to be so in sync with what is going on with current events. It's funny how that happens with the Torah. Those classes will not be meeting this Monday in observance of Martin Luther King Day. The Knit, Craft, and Conversation is back on Tuesdays. I think in parentheses is a glass of wine with that. It'll be on the 19th at 7 p.m. Our Parties with a Purpose, because there always has to be a purpose attached to a party, will be a virtual wine tasting event on this Thursday, the 21st at 7 p.m. There are a couple of spaces left, so please register online or by emailing Karen on Monday to join us for this really fun evening. The Interfaith Solidarity Network is sponsoring a Martin Luther King Jr. event Tuesday morning, the 19th. Join on Zoom for music, videos of MLK. That was my mother who just walked in the room, and his family and his family members. Prayers and comments by the clergy. The link is available through the flyer sent out in yesterday's weekly email. Join us for our religious school Shabbat next week. And as always, these Zoom links will be sent out days prior. Do keep a lookout for all of the emails. You can also go to koltikva.org to find out anything you want about the upcoming events. I know there's a lot of fundraising events that are coming up, and we can always use your help to help Kol Tikva and our community. Please do stay for the Oneg afterwards, and Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Roland. Those were wonderful announcements, filled with heart and with joy, which is what we need at this moment. So now we're going to move to the Mourner's Kaddish. We take a moment and we think about those who have passed both recently and in the past. As a community, we like to mention the names of those who have died because it brings back memories. It's also a way to honor both them and the families mourning them, to let us know that we are standing by their sides during difficult times. So on our recently departed list, Michael Warner, remembered by the Pasternak family. Officer Brian Sicknick, remembered by this nation. Jerry Willard, remembered by the Friedman family. Brady Rifkin, remembered by the Friedman family. Jackie Greenfield, remembered by the Fields and Mulleen families. And now we also turn our attention to those who died during this season in years past. Elsie Beacon, Alan Bomberg, Martin Boyer, Edith Burstein, Denise Embick, Marlene Epstein, Yitzhak Furman, Fanny Glassberg, Neil Hoffman, Irving Holtzman, Nina Hovsepian, Dora Levinson, Ruth Lieberman, Herbert Pass, Lois Polakov, Robert Rockoff, Betty Schenken, Malcolm Tipp, Abraham Weissman, Esty Wilder, Maury Witkoff, and Edith Zychek. And I see we have an additional name in our chat window, Rick Kasdan, Linda Weaver Weiss, and Audrey Simmons. Are there any additional names? You'll see in your chat windows, I've already put the Mourner's Kaddish there. If you are in the first 7 days of mourning, Shiva, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim, I ask you to rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, I'm going to ask you to rise. If you're observing a Yortzeit, I ask you to rise. And now I ask this community to please stand, well, in support of all those who mourn and who remember. The Mourner's Kaddish is in your chat window. Let us recite it together. Yitgadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, v'almad divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yimechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarak le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'rechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Shushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the one who makes peace on high grant peace to all who mourn, to all Israel, and to all humankind. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. Cantor will be leading us, Cantor and Shai, in our closing song, O Se Shalom. Cantor, Shai.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו. והכל ישראל יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו והכל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו והכל ישראל. 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 ועל כל העולם.
So I'm going to hold up my Kiddush cup. We're going to do a short Kiddush, going directly into the motzi, going directly into oneg, so that way people can start talking to one another. So Cantor, please.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון.
And now I'm going to allow everyone to unmute themselves. Give me 1 second to go to that control. Allow participants to unmute yourself. You can now unmute yourself and say Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Wonderful,
everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Laverne and Shirley.
Shabbat shalom.
Nice holla, Sharon.
Okay.
Shabbat shalom, Pam and Chris.
That was like Laverne and Shirley, actually.
Time for dinner.
Good night.
Gorgeous, Karen.
Right.
Oh,
Hey,
let's go,
Rabbi.
everyone.
That's gorgeous. It's like a conch shell.
You made
It's
that.
gorgeous.
Oh.
Karen made it. Karen made it.
Nice, Karen.
Hey.
Yay, Karen.
Gee, it's a real twist.
Lisa, let's see yours.
All right, Lisa.
Yes, made from, I wish I could say I made it, but it's from Trader Joe's, but it's
Oh.
Best challah.
Lisa.
They have such good challah. They have great challah.
Oh,
So pretty.
Lisa, I like it. Very good. Very good.
That's a designer house.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Oh,
Shabbat shalom.
Hey, we're out of here. We're
Shabbat shalom,
starved. We're
David.
gonna
Good
go
to
eat
see you.
dinner.
Good night,
Shabbat shalom,
Love you all.
everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom,
everyone.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shalom.
I'm glad you're feeling better, guys.
Shabbat
Lisa, I
shalom,
like your hair
again,
color.
Rabbi.
Lisa's darker.
Yeah.
But it's not letting, there we go.
Alan said to tell everyone that he's biding his time.
Okay.
Yay.
We're doing. Karen, how is mom?
Where's your mom tonight?
Who?
Oh, there she is.
I saw Karen.
Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think.
Oh, she went off. She went off.
Okay.
I'm gonna see them tomorrow or from a distance.
Okay.
Karen.
All right, love you all. I'm going to stop the recording.